when I was providing therapy, it was wonderful and I enjoyed it. But at the same time, I was like, gosh, the system is so messed up. And if this person didn't have this stupid systemic barrier in their way, they could be successful. Like, how can I actually set people up for success by both empowering the individual and creating some change within the system? And so I didn't believe in myself that I could create any large scale change or facilitate it in any way. And so I would say to myself, you can do big things.
You know, if you believe in what you're doing and you really think that there is a market opportunity and there's something there, it's a hard conversation to have with yourself, because everybody with an idea thinks they've got the next big thing. But if you've got some traction, if you've got validation and buy-in from notable clients, and it's actually like, okay, yeah, there's something here, then just be prepared to kind of hatch down and be ready for the bumpy ride, which is going out and trying to raise capital after that.
And so I decided I'm going to call Jed York every single day for 3 weeks. And finally his assistant picked up and she was like, you keep calling, what is this about? And then told her. So then the next day I sent her flowers. Like, I did some research about her and knew that she loved calla lilies and loved the color purple. So I sent her calla lilies with purple roses. Like, thank you so much for just taking the time to talk with me. And then about 3 days later, she was like, hey, you're on Jed York's schedule. And
you know, if I could go back, I may have told myself to study harder. I may have told myself to start my own business a lot sooner, because I knew that I had passion and drive, and I was just putting that into somebody else's pocket. Essentially, they were getting my my talents and my drive into their own company when I could have been building my own.
And I think, you see it, I mean, with Twitter and Jack Dorsey, and in that world, certainly they take strong views on things. But I think in general, when we're doing searches, they want to find, backgrounds that aren't going to offend half their employee base. If you're
Exactly.
Right? Half your employees are Democrat and Republican, half, you got
that's right.
Vaccinated. You've got so many issues that, you can't always be an effective leader when imposing your personal views on things that don't relate to the business. So.
Just specifically with ransomware, one ransomware attack every 11 seconds happening. That's expected by 2031 to be every 2 seconds. And so the problem is getting worse. Cyber attacks, cyber warfare are going to get worse before they get better. And I would expect in the mid 2030s that we'll hopefully have gotten to a point where the protections are good enough that it's not a problem anymore. But it's going to be something that we live with. As long as there's technology, there'll be cyber attacks.
And he's wearing a bathrobe. It's like everything, it's like a movie. He's got a bathrobe, drinking whiskey, and he says, here, come sit over here. And all he has for furniture in this apartment is a bench press. So I'm sitting on the bench press to get onto his computer to get into whatever, to set up his website that he's logged out of or something. And the whole time I'm just like, I just really want to leave.
Right.
So, it's sometimes you get a little more maybe adventure than you want.
But you do what you have to do. When you're starting out a business, you take on clients that might be a little scary or that you're nervous about. You do what you have to do, right?
It's a beggars can't be choosers deal. And you're just like, well, if this guy will pay me, then whatever.
But why not try and see if the market is receptive to your idea, to your service? You can go on a Fiverr, you can go on an Upwork, you can contact business owners like myself at KPC to see if it's something that we're looking for. And you can at least test it. If you're an artist, sell on Etsy. If you want to provide a resume review service, put it on Fiverr. Or you want to provide translation services, put it on Fiverr or Upwork, and just see what happens, because there are people who make $500,000 a year on Fiverr.
For no reason. We're part of something called the Last Prisoner Project. Actually, it's give a plug for them. They're trying to get every single person out of jail that's in jail right now for cannabis
Yes,
And
please.
so we were just raising money for them in Vegas, and it's a really good cause. And of course, we know that 80 to 90% are minority, and that's a big problem. And so this is why the advocacy is so important to us, is because the laws need to change. Before we can all make a bunch of money, we need to get the laws fixed.
Totally
and
agree.
Certain states we've done a great job in, but it's so weird, the dichotomy between a Texas and a Colorado, and it doesn't make any sense.
And through my story, I like to share anything's possible. I used to hate running in high school, and I ended up becoming a professional runner, running 100-mile distances. And then, I was told I was going to work in a Honda factory. Now I'm running a very successful coaching business. I'm a motivational speaker, speak around the world, writing a book, which is going to be done in June.
Oh,
and
cool.
Yeah,
All
so I mean, the message behind all this is anything's possible. And when somebody tells you something, they're telling you something from their own eyes, their own energy. And I think all the way up to 3 years ago, I took that very personal, and I was very hard on myself. And it really changed everything when I started realizing and just creating self-acceptance.
But there is a procrastination that goes on. It's like trying to decide, is this the best way or is that the best way? And the single worst thing that I ever heard when I was working in a big corporation was, do it right the first time. That whole culture doesn't exist anymore. Now it's all about rapid prototyping, fail fast. And in the early part of my career, all I was hearing this thing from the big corporation, which is do it right the first time. And it's just nonsense. There's no way to do it right the first time. Just get out there. So the advice that exists today is the advice that I really could have used way back when, which is just get out there, do it, make mistakes quickly.
We decided, hey, let's go in on this. Let's make this a commitment. I had been saving for quite a while, making good money as a contractor, and said, I'm gonna quit my job and I'm gonna build this. And
where were you working? Where were you working?
DirecTV as a contractor, which was bought by AT&T.
All right, now, and you're making pretty decent money, I'm guessing, at the time.
Yeah.
Living in Chicago, South Chicago.
Living in Chicago, just married, and my wife was pregnant, and I told her. We just moved into a new home. How do you feel about me quitting my job? And we set a budget and said, okay, we can do this for 6 months. We have it where we can live our normal lifestyle. 6 months was set aside. After that, go out and get a job.
She's pregnant with your first child,
yes.
Right? You're like, hey, I'm going to quit my job.
And I have to say, my wife was unbelievably supportive. Most people would say, are you nuts?
Was she working? Was she working?
She wasn't.
Oh.
And then we wanted feedback from bodybuilders. So we sent our product, we reached out to all these bodybuilders, and we reached out to people that had 5,000 followers, 10,000, and got responses back and said, hey, I'm interested. I'll try your product. I'll get feedback. And we sent 10 packages out first month, and then sent some more, and then got feedback, improved the product. And over the course of 3 months, we before we even made our Instagram account live, or more so public, we had about 5,000 followers, because we had all these influencers or athletes talk about this new product they're trying out, and they would give we had people that were requesting to follow us, and then we set a date to, hey, look, we're gonna make our Instagram live, and when we made it live, we instantly had 10,000 people following us.
Even the worst VCs have seen more deals than any entrepreneur ever will, so they know shit that you just don't know. And the best ones, an hour of their time is worth more than all of the money they could possibly put in. So and you're spending your time giving them your information. So yeah, that's my third piece. Just ruthlessly insist on getting feedback. You might not like it, but it'll always be worth it.
I put an asterisk next to the word failure because I don't believe in that word. I believe anytime you have a challenge, a setback, or what somebody might define as a failure, to me that's a learning opportunity. That should be a catalyst for you to learn something positive and grow. It could be a terrible experience for you, but if you just let it remain as that terrible experience, rather than being like, okay, this is why this happened, and this is how I could do this better the next time.